Hello and welcome back to GingerMan. I've replaced the blue sky, well I haven't, the atmosphere has, with a grey sky. So I'm out at the Highlands and I'm back in Fife and I'm in Dysart. I've not been here since the very start of my adventures, and I thought I got to come back here because last time I was here I spent the whole time calling it Dysart, which I mean that's how it's spelt, but you got to say it with a Z instead of the S. Anyway, I'm back and I'm excited to explore this place because I know it's got an incredible shoot and Outlander was filmed here. So anyway, Dysart, show me what you got. Peace.
I'll turn on the camera, test my microphone, I'm firing up the podcast, sound waves coming to your home. GingerMan with a can is here to make your day. GingerMan with a can would like to hear you say today.
Right, let's get into it. Dysart. I've got a vague memory of the last time I was here. I should have watched the old episode because it has been a long time. It was definitely first 100 episodes, no drone. So it's about time I got myself back here. Aye, let's do it. Right, I'm going to go down this way. I'm going to go down this wee street. I like the trees in it. If your street's got trees in it, that's good. It's no good for your drains, but it's good for the visuals, especially this time of year, spring. We've seen plenty cherry blossoms today. This seems like the natural way to go. I'm following this path. My aim is ultimately to end up down by the coast. Tell you what, this is a nice wee path between the houses, split with some nice trees. I can hear a dog. I was just thinking it's a nice wee path for a dog walking down. Plenty of things to smell. I've not got the smell of a dog though, I can't smell nothing. I was thinking, when am I going to come out at? Well, it turns out I've come out at Dysart's mixed glass recycling point. There we go, that's where I am. It's been that long since I was here, I can't even remember which direction I would have walked in or where I started. All I remember is going down the chute. Insert chute clip. This is mad. It's wet. I love just coming out at the water. It's just such a freeing feeling. Gives me the tingles. Now this is all coming back to me because I remember this bit on the Fife coast. I remember this quite well. So let's go and read what it says here, because Dysart was a mining town. There we go, the Dysart Town Trail. We've got it all here. The learning begins now. If you're just here for the jokes, you better just fast forward this next bit because this is a serious bit. I'm going to do some serious learning. I used to go down the pit at 5 AM and walk underground about 2 miles to the Francis Bottom to collect the free pit ponies and bring them back to the Blanchet to start work at 6 AM. That was all before he started work. 2 miles into a pit. Could you imagine? Folk would be raging today. I'm not doing that. That's the first thing I thought. I'd be like, I'm not doing that. And look at this, we've got the town trail, Harbour Master's House, Dock Bridge, hot pot wine. Oh, there's loads to see here. This is a treat. Hopefully the rain stays off and we get the drone up. A century ago, holiday makers strolled down Doobie Braes Doobie Braes to the beach or listened to the bands while picnicking on the slopes. They mingled with the crowds of workers heading home after their shifts in the town's linen mills and mines. Recently, the annual town gala has been held near the Braes in Dovecot Park. There we go. And the mills manufactured everything from tablecloths, bed linen to canvas covers for the pioneer families of the American West. Wow. So we've got some serious industrial Scottish history here. Have a wee look at this in the distance. And here's the wee memorial to the Francis Colliery. The Francis sunk in 1873 was locally known as the Doobie because it stood above the Doobie Braes, which were later ruined by the spoil from the pit. Development work was hampered by frequent encounters with water in the rock strata, and production did not commence until 1905. It became part of the Fife Coal Company's operations in 1923, and much needed improvements were carried out underground. Nationalism in 1947 under the National Coal Board saw further enlargement and mechanisation to access the rich seams under the Firth of Forth. At its peak in 1959, it employed 1,402 workers. That's a lot of people. Yeah. All that remains now of Dysart's long association with coal mining is the winding headgear over the shaft. It now stands as a reminder of the bygone way of life, of an industry which shaped the very character of this community. More importantly, it stands as a monument to the people who worked over the centuries in the most dangerous and dark environment, the men and women who worked the coal under Dysart. Winding gear, that's what we could just see in the distance there. I agree, it is a nice wee reminder there. Because although we can look back on it and with our furrowed brows and say, oh, that was dirty, dangerous work. You know, these people gave their lives for that work, so, you know, we can't just forget about it. And that's why these memorials and all of this stuff is so important. It has to stay. And there's just lots of things to read. I could be here all day reading it, but I best move on. Although it's not blue skies and sunny, it is not windy and currently not raining, so it's very pleasant, I would say. And it's quiet, it's peaceful. I can hear the birds singing to me. Just imagine the noise over 150 years ago. I just made that number up there. Maybe it's just 100 years ago. Imagine the noise 100 years ago. And look over on the distance, you can actually just see West Weems creeping out. That's pretty cool. It's such an incredible walk down the Fife coast. That's why it's been nice coming back recently and popping up to these places, because it's just triggering all these nice memories. Such a really peaceful morning. I can't quite put words to today. I think we've had such a dry, blue-skied spell that it's, I don't know, it's quite nice to have something different today. That's pretty cool. I could look at the ship But the problem with being specky is these things are no good for me. I found this bench and I'm quite enjoying it, just looking out to the misty, magical Forth. Which reminds me, I want to thank my patron legends who without I wouldn't be enjoying this view. Also, I want to do a shout out to, let me just get their names up, Amanda Devlin. Thank you so much. She got me a Twix and Angus a bone. He loved his bone and I love my Twix. And a shout out to Duncan McCanish. I think that's how you say your second name, I hope so anyway. Duncan McCanish, thank you so much. That got me a coffee and filled up the tank today. So we can come to the beautiful and wonderful Dysart, which isn't far from home. Anyway, you guys are all legends. Your names are coming up the screen, my patron legends. And aye, if you want to be a patron legend, you can click the link down there. Just click it, go click. And aye, if you want to just get me a coffee or Angus a bone or whatever, you know, just whatever. Thank you. I love yous all. Anyway, peace. Classic grass basketball court here, although it's kind of half basketball, a little bit football. They've not really committed to either. If you do want to play basketball, you've got the semicircle space to play, so it's better than a full grass basketball court. Right, so when I got the drone up, you can kind of see that it's a wee bit of a dense area, Dysart, but it kind of merges into Kirkcaldy. So my guess for the population here, before I go and check it, is 2,100. That's a total guess, straight up. If it lands, it lands, and if it's miles away, then I'll probably not have this bit in the episode. Danger, erosion, keep out. So I went looking for the population and it never gave me the population, but I'll read a little bit out of Wikipedia for you. The first record of the town was made in the early 13th century, its initial role being to settle civil matters between the church and landowners. During the middle of the 15th century, trade with the Low Countries began for salt and coal exportation. In the 16th and 17th centuries, trade expanded to the Baltic countries. Dysart acquired two nicknames, Saltborough and Little Holland, as a result. There you go, I like that. I just like the fact that I had two wee nicknames, Saltborough and Little Holland. So there you go, this is Little Holland, Saltborough, Dysart. There's something mesmerising about listening to the water, and it's sort of rattling through the pebbles, and it's adding all different nice sounds. Not a bad view from your balcony. The Dysart penthouse. Cracking views over the water. Right, I think this is us coming up to the sexy historic harbour. So sexy and attractive that Outlander decided to film here. But before we come to that, I just heard a guy burping back there, it was really loud. This was the site of the Lady Blanche Colliery, 1870 to 1929. There you go. It's mental, eh? That this is what's left, just the archway to the entrance. I don't even know if this was the entrance. And what, this would go 2 miles underground. This is the bit for the tourists. Look at that. Doesn't even look like anyone would really live here at this bit. It just looks too perfectly placed. But people do live there. That's the beauty of these historic places in Scotland. They're still living, breathing places where people live and communities exist. Right, let's go along into the harbour. It's all coming back to me now. This is a cool wee harbour bit with a big wall. You can't come to Dysart without seeing the harbour art. You know something, what I've just noticed about them, I feel like they're all just different shades of blue to represent the sky and the sea. They're pretty tall when you stand next to them. There we are, the famous harbour. This would have been a busy, busy place. And now it's kind of just, it's not sleepy, it's got a little buzz to it with tourists and people walking around, but hey, it's not like it was back in the day. Feels quite exotic here, with the big cliff background. And the water looks kind of green and calming. There's cool run-ins, it's a wee ginger boat. I like it. Yeah, there is something distinctly magical about Dysart Harbour. Even if you're just passing, it's a nice day, it's definitely worth walking around the harbour here. I think we can get up the top bit there as well and walk along, if I remember. There's so much to see and do here. If I had a boat, this is the harbour, I'm keeping my boat in. I love it, there's a portal tunnel to get out of the harbour through to the other side. In the 1890s, Michael Barker Nairn, the owner of Dysart House, built the wall to keep local people from walking along the shore and through his grounds. Ha! So that's why the wall's there. He built a massive cool wall just to keep people out. The tunnel was chiselled out the rock to allow a rail track to carry carts of stone from ships moored in the harbour to the beach. Sounds like Minecraft in real life was happening. The stones were used as ballast to keep a vessel up right when her cargo hold was empty. At the other end of the tunnel is Dysart Harbour, where ships left laden with salt and later coal for ports in Northern Europe and beyond. There we go. Right, I'm going back through the portal tunnel. Big wall to keep the people out, but you can't keep the people out. The people always get in, and the people are in. Following the sudden decline of the town's harbour, caused by the closure of the Lady Blanche pit, the town was amalgamated into the Royal Borough of Kirkcaldy under an Act of Parliament in 1930. Urban clearance during the 50s and 60s saw large parts of the historic town demolished for new housing. Demand from the town's residents meant that part of the historic town, most notably the 16th century and 18th century houses of Panha opposite the harbour, were salvaged and preserved for future generations. The Panha, that's the white houses we see at the front. And there's a tree with all its roots exposed at the side of the cliff edge. There's the naughty boy. And here we go, there's the Harbour Master's house and the cafe. Well, it's not the Harbour Master's house now, it's just a cafe. On Hot Pot Wynd, which is where I'm heading. I'm heading up Hot Pot Wynd in search of the legendary Dysart chute. I'm excited to ride it again. There we go. I'm not even going to pretend or lie that I took that wee hill there in my stride. I'm gassing. But look, it's the chute. The giant chute of destiny of Dysart. The Dysart magical chute. It's so big and long. And I'm talking about the chute. Oh, right, that was disappointing. What I've done to my trousers. I think it needs to be wet, and maybe I've got thicker thighs than I remember. Anyway, moving on. It's the old rectory inn, I think it was meant to once say. It's just a wall now. There's a Masonic hall. I guess the word art is in the name, so you know, it's inspirational. I like actually get this wee clay models of the buildings around the town. Look at this. This is quite cool. I like it, it's good art. And not too much graffiti, a couple of smashes on the T, but that's not too bad. There you go, it's the St Clair of Dysart Lodge 520. And you see, as you kind of look around these wee nooks and crannies and streets, you can see the old buildings. There's some there, and this all heads down to the Panha. So this is Fitzroy Square. So this is the Normand Memorial Garden. It was created in 1996 in memory of James Normand, linen manufacturer. Loads of dandelions. The bees will have a great time here. Dysart is just like oozes character and quirkiness. And it's unbelievably quiet for just how incredibly historical it is. That's what I take away from Dysart right now. I'm struggling to remember what I thought last time. Probably similar, because I remember certain bits. Like I remember seeing this garden now. I remember seeing this writing on the ground. Actually, I think I walked along and read it last time. This time, you know, you can watch the old video if you want to know what this says. Streets are tight for a bus to get along here, but they manage. So, it's the Dysart toll booth and townhouse, and was erected in 1576. Could be one of the oldest buildings here, right? And marks the borough's medieval civic centre. Its original purpose was to house the public weights and measures office, guardhouse and prison. It still retains heavy iron yates, prisoners' graffiti and a late medieval bronze bell. The forestair carries a panel of the town's thorn tree symbol dated 1617. This is a serious building. In 1656, Cromwell's soldiers who were stationed in the building accidentally caused a massive gunpowder explosion which severely damaged the building. Oh, wow. By the early 21st century, the toll booth had been disused for a long time and its fabric had deteriorated into poor condition. In 2009, Fife Council repaired the toll booth as part of a wider programme of townscape improvement. There we go. I want to know, can you get inside, or is it just outside we can look at it? It's an extremely old building though. You can see there's the tree, the Dysart symbol, and there's the thistle on top. There's wee details on these buildings. Incredible. I wonder what Baxter's was. The name of the town derives from the Scottish Gaelic Dysart, meaning a hermitage or religious retreat, which itself was a loan word from the Latin desertum, meaning a desert or deserted place. This is most likely linked to Saint Serf, who lived as a hermit in a cave in the area in the 8th century. Now, if I'm going to hermit somewhere, this would be an alright place to hermit, I guess. It's peaceful. That's what I was saying earlier. It's really peaceful and quiet. But yeah, it's surrounded by all this like incredible history, architecture, scenery. Hey. Quality. So these wee streets I don't think I've ever been down before, these wee cool buildings I've not seen. I tell you one thing, if you are going to come to Dysart, it's all on hills. You're rarely walking along a flat unless you're just doing the coast, and even on the coast you're up and down. You're up and you're down. I don't know what this building is. It looks like a church, but it's full of cars. There's no signs. Maybe I'm standing at the wrong side. My car's parked up this way, so I'm heading up this way. I'm going to conclude my day, because I'm not going to lie, I'm getting tired legs. I've been out gardening all week. That's right, if you want your garden done in Fife, give me a call. I cover most places in Fife. I'm filling a diary up, so aye, come and give me a call and I'll come and do your garden. So this is where all the townhouses will be, on this main street here. If you move further in this way, you'll find that a lot of the streets and houses would have been built, you know, after the wars, into the 70s, 80s, 90s, and then past the millennium. But the historic part of Dysart's all down here. This wee Raj, motorbike. They're everywhere. There's a big disused church. It's always sad when you see big majestic looking buildings like that with fencing round it and just been unloved and left. Very, very sad. Now, I was looking at notable residents from Dysart, and you wouldn't believe who's from here. William Wallace, the mathematician. He's there. William Wallace. And astronomer who invented the ideograph. I mean, come on, what a G. And there we go, back to the start. The loop of Dysart. What a place. What a historical treasure hidden behind Kirkcaldy there. You know, it's easy to miss places like this in Fife on your way to St Andrews or on your way to Edinburgh, or even Dunfermline. But Dysart is magnificent. I'll use that word, magnificent. It really is a cool place, and it's just good and chill and nice for a walk around. It's something real about it, you know, there's still a real connected community to it all. It's living, breathing, and it just feels like, you know, feels like a cool place. I really like Dysart. Anyway, I'm sure I'll be back here in another 5 years. I'll give it 5 years every time for Dysart, and we'll see how it progresses and changes. But places like this kind of, I'm not saying they're stuck in time, but in a sense they are, as they are trapped in some sort of time warp. But anyway, thanks for having me today, Dysart. I'll see you soon. Peace.
Well, it was a lovely to see you. It's the end of the show. Bring on tomorrow. Where shall we go? Where shall we go? Say goodnight to the GingerMan. One last ice cream for the bearded band. Pistachio